Welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. My name is Cindy D. Whitmer, and I am the Midlife Makeover Coach, helping you turn your midlife into your best life, one step at a time. Through powerful conversations, my own midlife roller coaster story, and over 3 decades of helping people transform their lives through counseling and coaching, I am on a mission to help you create your own definition of success and happiness. Thank you for being here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So today I'm feeling a little reflective. I'm feeling a little melancholy. I'm feeling a lot of things, and I decided to just get on here and talk to you about it and see what comes up for you because, some things have happened in life that have kind of stirred my soul recently, and it causes me pause. And so I got to thinking about one thing, how life is such a celebration. You know, we have so many fun things to celebrate, so many good times to share, so much joy to experience in this human life. And then there can be sadness, stress, despair, frustration, and everything also in this human experience. We can feel a lot of things all at once, in my opinion, and we're really wired to be able to do that. And I have been feeling a lot of things that seem like they clash in the last few days. So one of the things that I want to celebrate is my book, The Midlife Makeover Method, which has now been out for 2 years. It became an Amazon bestseller 2 years ago in June of 2022. And I thank you still, all of those of you that were part of that book launch and part of making that possible, and who've read it and enjoyed it and learned from it, or who contributed to it. Many of you did that in one way or another, and I just so appreciate that. So it's called the Midlife Makeover Method. Those of you who are watching on YouTube can see it. I'm holding it up. The subtitle being The Secret to Loving Yourself Fully and Living on Your Terms. And in last week's podcast, I talked about the importance of loving yourself and the benefits to loving yourself. And this, I'm just understanding more and more and more that we have all these things come up in life that are stressors or disappointments or frustrations, whether it's in, your marriages or other relationships that are important to you, or whether it's the stress you feel in your career, job, or business, whether it's financial concerns, health concerns, whatever it is, that we do have, what we call problems in different areas that are important to us in life. And underneath all of those problems, I think there is a lack of love for yourself. I think that's one of the key ingredients to actually turning any situation in your life around. And so I'm going to be honing in on that more and more, I think, as I go along. Because yes, there's 10 ways to turn your finances around, and 5 ways to be healthier tomorrow, and 3 strategies to feel more connected to your children, and all of those things, which I like to teach as well and coach people on. But I think I can serve you best if I spend time with you, helping you to recognize your own worth, see the value that is within you unquestionably and unconditionally, and encourage you to just truly be loving toward yourself like you often are to everyone else. Because when you really recognize your worth and you really love yourself, these other kinds of situations often will not develop, or they will not grow and evolve, or they will be resolved. Because the behaviors that we engage in when we love ourselves are much healthier. So we won't allow ourselves to get our health to get so out of hand that then we have a crisis on our hands, or we won't allow ourselves to treat ourselves poorly financially and end up in certain situations, or we will not tolerate behavior in relationships that we do when we don't love ourselves, as I shared in my newsletter last week too. Just wanting to affirm you and your worth and encourage you to be kind and loving to yourself. And a lot of you say, well, I don't know how to love myself. How do you love yourself? How do you love yourself? How do you love yourself? Well, it's the same behaviors that you use in loving others. You know how to be kind and compassionate to others. When they've fallen down, you don't call them an idiot. You help them get back up, or you cheer them on as they're climbing back up, right? But when you yourself fall, you might really criticize yourself terribly. So that's an example. When you love someone else and they say, oh, I need this, I want this, I'd love for this to happen, you're like, oh, okay, how can we make that happen? Let me help, let me do it, let me get it for you, let me have for you, and then when you think to yourself, gosh, I really want that, I really need that, you go, well, maybe someday, or maybe when this happens, or maybe when that happens, or I probably shouldn't do that, or I probably shouldn't spend time that way, or I really need to think about them first, or I don't really have the money for that, or, all these things you do to put up a barrier between loving yourself and doing the things you love and living how you really want to live. And so that constant, consistent denial of yourself and who you genuinely are creates a disconnection between you and yourself. And then you get lonely, then you get depressed, then you spiral down, then things start to go unwired for you. And I did this on a grand scale in my own life as I was, and from a young adult on, I did this. And after a couple of decades of living this way, it was catching up to me and taking over my life. And the despair I felt and the total lack of even acknowledging myself as a person with needs absolutely was starting to dismantle everything around me. And I knew that something had to change or I was going to just spiral completely down. And so I at that time of total desperation, I started to take action to turn the situation around. And the work that I did started right within myself. I mean, at first I tried to get others to change. I tried to get others to join me in change. I tried to convince myself of things that it would all be okay and da 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 and and then I realized, Cindy, you've got to go deep with yourself. You need to grow. You need to be willing to look yourself straight in the mirror and understand, how you got here, what you did or didn't do that got you right here in this state of being that you are in. And then you need to make new decisions and create new habits and new ways of thinking that's going to move you into a healthier space in your life and turn this whole situation around. And that is the deep work that I do with people in my coaching programs. I really help people and support people in getting very, very real with themselves. That's why step one of the midlife makeover method, which is a way to completely turn your life around, is waking up. And that is the work. That's one step of it, the first step of it, realizing who you are, how you've been, what you've done, what you haven't done, and really waking up to all of that and understanding that you are the most powerful player in your universe, and it's all a choice. So I want to read you the quote that I put in the beginning of my book, because I found it. I don't know where I found it. I don't know how I found it. I can't remember anymore. But it really speaks to that desire that I had to change the story of my life at that point in the middle of my 40s. So this is Henry David Thoreau, actually, and I don't know what led him to write this quote. I never looked it up. I just loved it so much, and and attached the meaning to my own in my own way. So here's what he said: I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear. Nor did I wish to practice resignation unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep. Whew. And that is what I wanted. I knew, and that's what I still want. I want to live deep. I want to live fully. I want to embrace what this life has to offer and not miss any of it, because I think it's so precious. I think it's so amazing. And I think there's so much for us to soak up and learn and enjoy and appreciate, and ways we can serve and impact and everything else along our own journeys. And that I am just so determined to keep that frame of mind and that state of being as I get into now I'm in my late 50s, and I hope to live to be 100 or more with that kind of attitude. So, I said in the beginning that I was feeling many things at once, and that's part of the human experience. And the other side of this coin of celebration and appreciation and joy that I feel in life right this moment is a sadness and a grief that I'm feeling, because a friend of mine just very recently died. And I didn't see this coming. I didn't know, I didn't realize that her health issues were so serious. I mean, I felt I knew her health issues had been serious last fall, especially. She was a bit open about that. This is someone in my life who's fiercely private. I mean, just very, very private, but such a sweetheart, such a dear, who's going to be greatly missed by thousands of people. She really impacted a lot of people in the world. But anyway, uh, she was a good friend of mine, and she was so private that I didn't even really know that her health was spiraling down like it apparently was. And I thought she was doing a lot better than she'd been doing last fall. And she gave me no direct indication whatsoever that things were not, that she wasn't on a healing path. And so when she died, when I got word that she died, I just was so shocked. This is a young woman. I don't know how old she was actually in biological years, 40s. I would guess somewhere in her 40s. Anyway, so I've been turning that over in my mind. I've been turning that over and around and in my mind, thinking about her and her kids who are left behind, and who aren't completely grown yet. Um, just thinking about how she served the world and the gifts that she taught us all, those of us who knew her personally or professionally, or both for that matter. And now her earthly life, her human physical life is over. And what goes on now, who knows, right? But there's a lot of theories about that. And she was someone who taught about the life after life, and angels and spirit guides and things like that. And so I think she would say, that there is a life beyond this life, and that is what she is probably living now. I hope, pure happiness, pure health, and ease in her life now. However, for us left here, when you lose a loved one, no matter what the circumstances are, whether you knew it was coming or not, no matter what, anything around any of it, there's a sadness, right? And there's a grief that's tough to know what to do with. And we've talked about grief before on the podcast. There's an episode not that long ago, a couple months ago, I think, that I did a real thorough uh, look at grief. If you want to go back and find that, if you're grieving someone yourself. But uh, as I've reflected since getting that news, I've, felt a lot of feelings. I found myself a little bit angry with her, just even as I was missing her, even as my heart was breaking. I was a little bit angry, like, why didn't you tell me? Like, because I literally was in a texting conversation with her. I believe it was about 10 days before she died. And she didn't say anything. I asked her how she was, and she didn't answer me that question. She avoided that question. And then I was angry at myself for not catching that she was ignoring the subject and that it might mean something. And maybe I ought to do something. I don't know. And what was there to do? I don't know. It's just all the feelings, right? All the feelings. I hope you guys can relate to this and understand what I'm saying. So again, someone dies at any age, but wow, it feels quite young to have her die now. And it's just caused me to appreciate my life and every day that I am given to live again, even more. And so again, like Henry David Thoreau says, I feel like his quote is saying, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to get caught up in the silly little details of life. I just want to live deep. I want to live fully. I want to live a meaningful life that really feels good, and that it matters, that it matters. I did a little talk at a friend's church gathering, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And I just talked for a short while. I shared a testimony of my life to these women, this small group of women. And I didn't know if I did a good job. I didn't know if it was interesting. I really couldn't read the room very well. I think they were in deep thought, actually, because they were sweethearts, all of them. But I didn't really know how they were receiving what I was sharing, and couldn't read the crowd very well. But when I was walking out, a woman stopped me and said, "Hey, I just want you to know that what you shared really, really has made a difference to me." And she explained the details of her situation, which I won't go into, and how it encouraged her, was an encouragement to her, and felt as an assurance to her that, it would be okay, and that she knew more what she needed to do after listening to me talk. And I said to her, "Oh, thank you so much for sharing this to me, because I just wanted to know that it mattered. I just wanted to know that what I said mattered, and that I didn't, waste my time, or I didn't waste their time, and that the opportunity that I was given was used in a way that was powerful or meaningful to someone." And it definitely, was to her. And then later, my friend who invited me to do the talk there said that she heard other women talking about, how they felt in my presence, and what was delivered and received, and it was like, okay, good. It did something for someone. And that's my desire. Every time I get on here to talk with you, whether I'm with myself, just with myself, or I have a guest, I am doing it very intentionally. I'm doing it very intentionally because I feel like I have been blessed to learn some things over the years through my profession and also through my personal deep work, my own work in my life. And that these things can be life changing for anyone who can also learn them. And so, if you have any level of dissatisfaction in any area of your life, it is my honor to be a tool, an option for you to find another way so you can feel better. And so today, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to find whatever words, you know, mean something to you that encourage you, empower you, remind you that there's more to life on earth. There's more to our lives than just getting through the day, than just getting by, than just, sort of stumbling and bumbling about. Like there is a whole grand situation going on here. And I personally believe it is divine. There's divine orchestration going on, that, A plus B equals C, like this happens and this happens and leads to this, and then this happens. I mean, you meet somebody in the line at Target and they end up being your next best friend, or you know, you, I don't know, all kinds of things. What if every encounter you have in your life, even if it's just meeting someone on the sidewalk briefly, smiling, saying hello, or they drop something and you pick it up for them? What if everything that's going on actually matters? It might actually matter in a way you can't even imagine. And so I want, my wish for you is that you enjoy and delight in life, that you have a good time, that you're having fun, that you're experiencing joy every single day, that you have a lightness about you and you don't take too much too seriously, while at the same time you see the value in looking at life as this precious, meaningful experience where we can go deep with one another. And that's where real connection to ourselves and to others and to the world is going to happen. That's how it's going to happen if we're willing to go deep and really know ourselves and really honor ourselves, and then also give that experience to others when we are in their presence. And then to just keep letting that ripple effect make its way from us to others, and from those others to even more people, and spread it out around our communities and across the world. Because you matter. You absolutely matter. You're here because your way of being, your personality, your unique thoughts, ideas, creativity, skill sets, whatever it is that is makes up, all of who you are, matters. It's something no one else can bring exactly the same way to the world. So if you're sitting there at home, or you're driving in your car listening to this, or running, doing your, daily run with me in your earbuds or whatever, please hear me loud and clear that your life matters, and that you must remember that, and not take that, for granted. And for sure, please go deep with yourself. Please get to know yourself. Again, remember you're a person first before you're any role that you're living out. And choose joy every single day, and choose to bring value to your experiences and meaning to what you're up to every single day. And I'm not asking you to, establish a nonprofit tomorrow and, ruin your whole life trying to get it going. But if you want to start a nonprofit, fabulous, yay for you. I'm just saying that what you do, how you show up, and where in your circles, wherever you are right now, the attitude in which you bring, the actions you choose, the thoughts you think, they all make a difference far beyond your personal experience. So, Yeah, let's live deep together. Let's live deep together and insist that we bring a positive, healthy, meaningful energy to our lives and share it with one another. Thank you so much for being here and listening. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Life Makeovers podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with those that you think would also benefit from what we're doing here. And I will talk to you again soon.